Greetings, everyone. Welcome. Ryan Spain here from Going Optimal, and I wanted to talk today about how to optimize your free-to-play accounts on Magic the Gathering Arena or your budget accounts. Even if you're not fully free-to-play, maybe you're just trying to manage your Magic budget a little better and are trying to figure out the best way to do that on Arena. I am here for you. And we are going to start by saying if you are, fundamentally, this is about whether or not you are getting your resources on Arena via money or time, because time and money are the two things that WotC will accept in exchange for in-game resources. If you're the money type, I just want to quickly point out that in the store, I will get into this view for a second here. Even here we go. In the store here, if you're a spender, you're going to want to spend $100 at a time on the $100 gem bundle, but that is after you buy it's probably in the featured, like right now we have a one-time deal on 5 iconic card styles and 3,500 gems. This is called the Explorer bundle. I have not bought the Explorer bundle on this account yet, but I have bought the Welcome bundle. And the reason why you don't see it, even though this is the only thing I've ever spent on this account is $5 for the Welcome bundle. And other than that, it's completely free to play. And the reason I spent $5 on the Welcome bundle is because it's that good of a deal. I said there's two ways, there's two things you can do that Wizards will give you resources for. Give your time or your money. There's one other thing. Give them your credit card number. The reason why Wizards and other games offer these incredible one-time upfront welcome deals is they really want you to give them your credit card and learn how to make purchases on their system so that you're comfortable doing that in the future. That when you're like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy 20,000 gems. Like they just want they want you to put your credit card in. And because of that, they're willing to give you a good chunk of in-game resources if you're willing to do that. And that's what that Welcome bundle is about. So if you, even if you're free to play, even if you really don't want to spend money on the system, I do recommend finding the $5 in your wallet or the couch or your purse or whatever, and getting that Welcome bundle, because the value is really there on the Welcome bundle. And then after that, either stop spending or spend on other good one-time bundles. All the one-time bundles tend to be pretty good. But then if you're out of one-time bundles, go for the $100 gem deals. But most of you are here because you don't want to spend $100, you want to spend $0. So how do you handle this game when you're on a $0 plan? Well, in that case, you're going to be getting a lot of your resources through proper management of your time, because Wizards will pay you to play. Some people call Magic pay to win, but on Arena, it's pay to play, but Wizards pays you. They pay you in gold, and they pay you by you getting daily wins and by completing quests. So let's start with quests. You have 3 quest slots. They are going to involve doing something in the game, as you see here, to earn them. And they're either going to be worth 750 gold or 500 gold. And once per day, you get a quest swap. And you want to use your quest swap every single day on a 500. It does not matter if it's a 750, you leave it alone. If you have multiple 500s, you want to spin the one that's actually easiest to complete. So for example, cast 20 creature spells, that's pretty easy to complete. You'd think, hey, easy to complete, don't we want to keep that? No. On 500s, we want to actually throw away the easy ones so that we can save them to spin for later. I'll show you what I mean. Let's start by spinning this one though. So let's see if we can get a 750. No, another 500. I don't know what the odds are exactly of getting a 750. Some of us have been tracking it, and it seems somewhere between 1 in 4 and 1 in 5-ish. You'll get a 750 there. And that's a 250 gold increase in your reward for completing that task, right? This quest. So if 1 in every 5 times you get a 250 gold bonus, the act of cycling a 500 quest is, on average, worth about 50 gold. So the first thing you want to do every day when you come into your arena for the first time is swap a 500. I don't care if it's your favorite color pair and you've almost got it complete. Swap it, change it. You want to try, every time you click and swap, it's like 50 gold. Whether it flips to a 750 that time or not, you're moving towards that average. So that's part 1 of the quest system. The other thing is, these are your most important access to gold. This is the biggest way in which the game pays you, is through a daily quest that's worth at least 500. Right now, I'm all full. If I were to quit playing right now and not come back until tomorrow, at the rotation time, at the overnight time where they add new quests, the system would look, see that I have no slots available, and say, oh, well, this player doesn't want a new quest right now. And that would cost me at least 500 gold, more like 550, really, if you talk about the average for swapping. So the other thing to do is make sure that at the end of the day, ideally, at the end of your play on a given day, at least one of your quest slots will be cleared, will be open, so that when the new ones come in, you'll get one. And then further, also ideally, you finish your day with one incomplete 500. Now, we've talked about trying to switch a 500 every day. So if you can manage, so let's say we were not going to draft today, and we wanted to optimize our management of these quests. Here's how I would handle it. We almost are complete on white and blue, and we have a 500 on black and green. And we have cast 30 on green or blue. So this is unfortunate. So we really want to avoid white and blue because we're very close to finishing here. But we want green so that we can finish this. Trouble is, if you play a bunch of green spells, we're also going to start to complete this 500. However, we only need 13, 23. We need 17 green spells to complete this 750. And 17 green spells will not complete this this one. So what we could do, if we really wanted to get nitty gritty here, run a mono green deck or a green blue deck, or we can just run mono blue. That's the other thing we can do here. Blue blue messes up this one. So yeah, we just kind of want to run mono green until we cast 17 spells, and then we would complete this 750 and win. One night and get this quest without completing these. And by not completing the 500s and leaving this empty, what that does is says that tomorrow we're guaranteed to have a 500 to spin, because I try to leave 500 open for the next day, so that every day we could green red works too, sorry, but red spells don't advance things, so that's why I suggested mono green. But you could do green red too. Like if we had a good green red deck, hey look, not that that's a good one, but yeah, the point is you're trying to if you care this much about it, you're trying to leave something open. Now, if I'm drafting, I don't care about this. The only time I'm this careful, as I described just now, is when I'm not intending to draft on my free-to-play account that day. So if you really liked your green-red deck, yes, you can play it. But if you want to complete this faster, you want to use a mono-green deck. So that's what's going on with the quests, and that's how I optimize my quest management. And then the other thing where you get a lot of gold from Wizards of the Coast is in daily wins, and in fact weekly wins to an extent. So you get 15 wins a day that matter, but really the first one is worth 250 gold. So I strongly recommend, like if you're having a busy day but you do have, you have 20 minutes and you're thinking about maybe playing some arena but you're not sure, do remember that if you can get that if you can get that first win in, you get 250 gold. That is pretty good. It is pretty good to get 250 for your first win, and then your next three after that are 100 each. So the other thing I recommend as a daily play routine is to play until you win 4 times. And then your first one is worth 250. Your next 3 are worth 300, and that's another 550 that you've gotten out of the system. So that's your critical way to earn gold. And if you do it this way, you're going to get basically 550 gold a day from quests, plus your occasional natural 750. I'm just kind of averaging it, call it 550, 600 a day off of quests, and then 550 a day off of win rate. And by winning 4 times a day, you're going to earn 1,100 to 1,250 gold a day. Call it 1,250. If you're winning 1,250 gold a day, you get a free draft every 4 days, because drafts are 5,000 gold. So that's how to manage your gold expenditures via quests, or your gold earnings via quests. We'll get into the Mastery Pass later. XP is about the Mastery Pass, and I'm going to do a separate video for that. But basically, ideally, you also win 15 times a week to get your maximum XP from wins each week. So that's what this is. It's saying 15 times. I've won 5 of my 15 XP wins this week. And my next reward for leveling up XP is going to be a Theros booster. But we'll get into the Mastery Pass in the next video. So if you're really interested in XP and Mastery Pass, look for my other video. But I'm going to stick to non-Mastery Pass considerations right now. So then we get into, now you understand how to manage your quests and your winning to get daily gold, but what are you playing? What are you going to play while you're in the system? Now we come to the question of whether or not you are a limited player or a constructed player at heart. Basically, let's start with only constructed. Somehow you found me, a huge limited fan, but you're only a constructed player. No problem. If you are only constructed, the way I would recommend playing is to start in the play queue while you're building your collection. So note that the play queue is very difficult. The play queue is not ranked, and it actually looks at deck contents to make pairings. So if you want, so like this Gruul Clans, for example, is just one of the starter decks. Like this is a prefab, a precon basically, and so get your feet wet in the play queue because it's very low stakes and very much looks at, you don't have to have a tier 1 deck to have some success in the play queue. Once you feel like you have a pretty decent deck, but you're not 100% sure of it yet, you want to graduate to standard ranked. And you want to get to this as soon as you can. So like build yourself a decent standard deck. And we'll even get into that, some tips on collection building and how to go about deck building for this. But for right now, take your best deck into standard ranked and work your way up there. Once you feel like, okay, not only I have my ideal deck now, I have a tier 1 deck that I'm quite happy with, and you're a decent player, then you should be going into standard event. Standard event is 500 gold to enter or 95 gems. Whenever you're given the choice between gold and gems to enter, just choose gold if you have it. Basically, gems do everything gold does and more. So therefore, if gold is an option, do gold. And then if gold is not an option, then you can fall back on gems. But with 500 gold, you get to play until you win 7 times or lose 3 times with a best of 1 is best of 1, right? Best of 1 deck. And then, so, you know, you 2 and 3, it's a ways before, like you need to get to 4 wins before you break even, which can seem a little hard to get to if you're not above 500. But note that in addition to the gold, you actually do get cards. So at least 3 uncommons with a chance of a rare. So when they say at least 3 uncommons, it means there's a chance you're going to get rares as well. So this queue is a good way to give yourself some competition without putting a ton on the line, and also know that you're building your collection while you play. And if you're good enough, you're actually, you can make a gold profit here. You can increase your gold if you're good enough. But if you're not good enough, even if you're not good enough to make a gold profit, the card, if you're interested in collection building and competition, this is still a good place to play because you're going to get cards for your collection and you're going to have something on the line which can make you feel a little bit more involved. And if you're constructed only, you should be building towards this kind of thing, right? Playing competitively in, well, I shouldn't say should. If you don't like competitive play, whatever. But assuming you want to be competitive, this is kind of where you're aiming to get to. And then from there, you can graduate to some of the other, if you want best of 3, you can do traditional standard event. But I think most people want best of 1 for ease of just kind of getting it going on. You can, if you're a casual player, you can do the brawler play for all this stuff as well. Although I don't like the idea of supporting paying to have a format available. That's a little weird. Brian says he doesn't ever do the standard events, just plays the ranked queues. Well, if you want to, you might give it a try, Brian. if you're good enough, you might as well. I mean, if you're good enough, you might as well play for gold instead of not, because you'll come out ahead. And if you're not good enough, but you want a collection build, it's still good to build collections there too. But that's just for constructed only players. What about people who like limited? First, I'm going to assume that you're a where most people fall, which is I like limited, but I like constructed too. I want to build a collection. I want to have a standard deck or 5 to mess around with and have fun with. But at the end of the day, I really want to make sure I get a lot of limited in. Well, you're a person after my own heart then, and you've come to the right place, because there is a really great cycle for the heavy limited, but I like constructed type player. And that cycle is to focus on limited early in the format, and then focus on constructed later in the format when you've built up a collection in that new format, in the new set, so that you're competitive and have all the cards in it. So to the extent that you want to play limited, go ahead and play draft. And really, my only, some people ask, should I play best of 3 or best of 1? I'll explain the difference. The difference is that in best of 3, you get, well, let's take a look at them. We'll take a look at them by looking at the actual queues themselves. So let's take a look at traditional draft. It's not showing you the entry costs here, but it costs, you can't enter in gold, and it costs 1,500 gems, which is twice as much as the best of 1. But the big difference here is it's a steeper pay scale. So at 0 wins, you only get a measly Theros booster, right? And at 5 wins, you get 2,100 gems and 6 packs. So you get a ton of packs and a ton of gems. Woohoo, 5 wins. We love 5 wins. But the key points are 2 wins, at where you get your first gem infusion of 800 gems. And then 3 wins, which is your break-even point. You get 3 wins, you get your 1,500 gems back, plus the 4 packs, and you're super happy. So whether or not, so one thing, if you're a winning player, you're better off in best of 3 because they don't pair on rank, and having best of 3 allows your skill better chance to bear out. So if you lose that first game, you get 2 more better than 50% shots at winning the next 2 games, and thus winning the match. So if you feel like you're a significantly above 500 limited player, I would try to play more traditional, more best of 3. And then if the other queue is your best of 1 option, that's also going to be ranked. Oh, I should say, yeah, best of 3 does not look at rank at all. It just looks at your win-loss record in the event. Doesn't look at rank. Rank, on the other hand, ranked is best of 1, has a 750 gold gem entry or a 5,000 gold entry. Again, use gold if you have it. And then look, for 0 wins, you actually get 50 gems in a pack. So the other one at 0 wins only gave you a pack, no gems, and cost twice as much to enter. This one gives you a pack and 50 gems for not even winning at all. But the upper end is much less exciting. So at the other end, you still only get 2 packs and 950 gems. So a little bit of gem profit and 1 extra guaranteed pack. Then in the middle here, you get this chance at a bonus pack. So you only get 1 pack. There's a bonus pack chance here. 20% bonus, 22, 24, 26, 30, 35. So as you go up, your chance of getting an extra pack increases. So you'll get from 1 to 2 packs and some extra gems. The cost of getting stuff on the low end in this queue is that the high end isn't as profitable. So this is what we call a flatter payout. And it's also best of 1, and it also looks at rank. It looks at rank after record, but it does try to pair you with someone of similar rank after it has found someone with a similar record. So keep that in mind. There is a skill tax in this queue. It's not maybe a huge one, but there is a skill tax. And but if you're not feeling as confident about your play, or you just want the experience of drafting, but you don't want to risk double the entry, you can stick with best of 1, and that has some benefits as well. The bottom line is which of these queues to enter for limited, ranked, or traditional depends on your skill level and how much you value the individual the individual cards you get out of these booster packs, because only people who care about constructed really care much about these boosters. But if you care a lot about constructed, you really want them. If you don't care at all, then they lose a lot of value. So finding the right queue from an EV standpoint can be really tough to just give you the info on, because it really depends on how much you value these booster packs. But you can go to my spreadsheet and use the EV calculator to estimate which queue is going to be best for you based on your win percentage. So that's the mixed player, right? The mixed player should be doing this. But now let's talk about the mixed player who is going to 4x their account and the limited only player. Okay, so if you are someone who plays a lot and tends to 4x your account every set, and you play a ton of limited, or you only play limited, this segment is now for you. If you are a limited only player, then you're going to really want to have multiple accounts, frankly. If we go back to the homepage, for example, I was explaining that Wizards will basically pay you to play this game. They will pay you in-game resources to play Arena, but only to a certain point. So let's say we played on this account today. We played a draft, and it happened to be, let's see, white. Let's say it happened to be green-white. So we had, and we won 4 times. So now we play a bunch, we clear out all these quests, and we have our 4 wins done, okay? We've exhausted the value on the day for this account. We can't get much more out of our wins. We can't complete any more quests, but we're not done playing. I want to draft again. I love this new set, and I want to draft again, but we have nothing to play for in terms of gold from Wizards' standpoint. That's where if you don't care about building collections, congratulations. Oh my gosh. If you don't care about constructed, as soon as they get human drafting pods, Arena is going to be your dream come true, because you'll be able to draft for free. It's not hard to draft for free on Arena, even if you're not a great drafter, if it's all you want to do. Because then when you stop caring about collection building, you get to do all sorts of tricky little tricks. The main thing, though, is when you've completed your quest for the day, when you have an empty quest slot and you've won 4 times, stop playing on the account, even if you haven't finished the draft yet. Like, note that I haven't finished this draft. I'm in the middle of a draft on this account. Why haven't I finished it? Because at the time, I had nothing to play for from Wizards' standpoint. Wizards was not going to pay me to play anymore, so I stopped. And what you can do is switch to an account that's in this shape. So imagine, we wiped all this out. We extracted all the value. We log out, log in, and now we're playing on our second account that has a lot more value to grind. And the only drawback to this multiple account situation is that you've got a thin, spread out collection that can't be shared, right? But if you don't care about constructed, then that doesn't matter. And boom, you basically have infinite drafting, because basically no matter how bad you are, as soon as you have won 4 times for the week, and you have a free quest slot, just switch to a different account. You can make 12 accounts if you need to, but the point is, if you're free to play limited, as soon as you're out of gold to play for, switch to an account that has gold to play for, and play limited to get it. That's what Mike does. Our friend here, Mike1976, who is commenting here as I talk, has, I believe, 7 accounts, right? And Mike here is going to augment. Oh, here, I'm not in. The chat is small. Let me get to the soapbox so you can see what Mike has to say, because Mike is, in fact, we'll even go to packs. I think it's easier to see in here. Mike is a master of navigating the, here, we'll open this pack too, navigating free-to-play drafting. Mike's up to 10 accounts. That's funny. So I'll read out what Mike is saying here. Mike says, max value from alternate accounts is to play only when you have 3 quests and today's wins are available. Leave daily gold on the table when the quests aren't full. you have another account that can earn more gold. So there you go. So basically, Mike is saying going around chasing quests, that quests are the most efficient way to get gold. So if you want to just open up a zillion accounts and do what Mike says and quit even earlier, just quit when you have the quests available, you can do that. Okay, the other thing to do that I want to show you that I can't do by example here, but it's how to use your wildcards if you are a free-to-play multi-account user. The way to handle your wildcards as a free-to-play drafter that doesn't care about constructed is to do a little trick where mid-draft, so let's say we were going into a draft. Here, maybe I'll even do it. Just for the visual. We'll go in here. I'm gonna start a draft. Here I am in a draft, in draft view, right? This is Throne of Eldraine. It's the only one available for gold right now. But basically, let's say we did not have 4 copies of Stonecoil Serpent yet. We happen to have it in this account. Oh no, we don't. This is perfect, actually. Oh great, we get to show an actual example. So right now I'm using an overlay called untapped.gg, or it's a draft helper. Oh no, wait, this is the draft helper. Sorry, I have a lot of different overlays, but this is the draft helper that is showing me that I have 3 copies of Stonecoil Serpent. So what I do here is I take the Stonecoil Serpent, and then I leave the draft. See, I have all these wild cards here. Right now, if we finish the draft, we would just get our 4th Stonecoil Serpent, right? All right, whatever. But if we go to Decks, Collection, we look up Stonecoil. See how we have 3? If we craft our 4th one here, now we go back, and if we finish the draft, now we have 4 copies of a card, and draft duplicate protection kicks in. So in draft, the way the duplicate protection will work is that even though there are plenty of cards I don't have 4x of in this set, now when we finish this draft, Stonecoil Serpent is going to give us 20 gems. We're going to get 20 gems. So we successfully used draft to convert a wild card into 20 gems using this rare drafting technique. But I only recommend it for those on free-to-play draft only. If you care about your collection, then you should just use wildcards on whatever you want for your collection and not do this. But if you don't care about constructed, this is the way to extract gem value from your wildcards as a limited player. So just wanted to show you that. And then we had another question. Let's see. Do you hold on to packs? Some people, okay, so because there's duplicate protection on Arena. I'll go back to Soapbox here. No, there's no duplicate protection in Limited. That's not how Limited works. Limited will always give you the same chance at every rare, mythic, and uncommon, and common, etc. No duplicate protection in Limited boosters. However, given the duplicate protection in Limited boosters, or not Limited boosters, in prize boosters and store boosters, the 8-pack boosters, 8-card boosters. 8-card boosters have protection, which means that if you would open a 5th copy of a rare or mythic in that booster, instead the system will find you a rare or mythic you don't have 4 of and give you one of those instead. Once you have 4 of every rare in a set, opening a rare in a booster will give you 20 gems, and if you have 4 of every mythic in a set, opening a mythic will give you 40 gems. That's the nature of how we make that that technique I showed you just work in draft. But what this is causing some people to do is something I'm not sure is worth it, and I'm going to withhold judgment and let you decide for yourself, because some people do this, but it doesn't make sense to me, but I'll explain what people do. When you get packs of a new set, if you're going to be drafting a lot anyway, maybe you're not playing constructed, in which case it's fine. You can draft rares and build up a horde of boosters so that when you open the boosters, all at once, the duplicate protection evens everything out and you fill up your collection. The problem of opening your boosters first is that duplicate protection doesn't work in limited, so you might duplicate protection yourself 4 copies of Stonecoil Serpent by opening a bunch of packs. But now if you open a Stonecoil Serpent, it gives you gems instead of extra progress on your collection building. So some people who are very focused on collection building but like to draft like to wait on opening their boosters so that they can build up some rares through individual card rewards and drafting, and then open the boosters all at once to fill in the empty slots at the end. The reason I don't like that technique is because ostensibly, if you're doing that, if you care about filling up 4x on your collection, well, you like Constructed. And if you like Constructed, well, open those boosters. Maybe there's cards in it you want to play with, right? Yeah, if you are truly just a collector, sure, you can get your collection going faster. But if you're a player, if you like playing Constructed, just open your boosters. The only reason I wait for boosters is to get 10 of them so I can click the 10x button and save a little time opening 10 at once. But if you love Constructed, I think you're being too fiddly to hoard boosters to take advantage of duplicate protection. And you'll probably generate more in-game happiness by just cracking those packs. And Raptor says the trick is find a good deck that you don't need the new cards for. Yeah. So that's my advice there. Let's talk briefly about deck building, though. That'll be, I think, my last lesson on the day for the free-to-play player. I think you missed the beginning, El. The standard event is the gold cost event that you want to stick to for as a Constructed player with something on the line. You want to do the standard event, this one right here. But let's talk about deck building. If you're a free-to-play player, a new player, you haven't been on the system long, maybe you've just got a bunch of these. Hello, there we go. A bunch of these prefab decks like Angelic Army, House Demir. These are all just pre-cons and are not very competitive. They may be fun, but they're not competitive. And you want to get competitive, especially if you have to grind gold. You know, I gave you all these tips for grinding gold, but that sometimes means playing outside of limited, and you got to come up with some kind of a deck. So where do you start? Really, monocolored decks are the place to start. And fortunately, right now is a real great time for monocolored. There's viable monocolored decks in literally any color. And what you want to do, what I would do is, there are a lot of sources out there. I'm going to get into the deck building view now so you can see a little bit here. Whoa, there we go. I want to go to left monitor 2 so I can show you something here. Wait. Because I want to show you what I use. There's a lot of different places you can get decks. I'm not saying this is, in fact, I'll show you a couple. You go to left monitor. Oops, left monitor here. What? Click. Oh my gosh, why is it doing this to me? Do you not? Guy just wants to hide his bookmarks so I can have more space on the screen, and this thing doesn't want to do it for me. All right, this will work. Thanks for your patience. Might trim this out. All right, let's get to left monitor here. I use MTG Goldfish for most of my net decking, but basically, if you go to standard metagame on MTG Goldfish, you can look at tons of decks, and actually you can do a find for mono. Well, let's see. On this account, we were talking about how mono green. I wonder if there's a mono green deck that we can snag. Looks like maybe not on the competitive front. Thank you. But we also said green red. But I want to show people how to make a mono deck. So let's take a mono red aggro here. Thank you for that sub. We're going to export this, copy like this. And I'm going to go back to deck building view. And we'll import this mono deck. Thing is, I probably actually have all the parts for it. Oh, maybe not. Oh, good. So we have some missing stuff. This account. So I loaded this this hot new deck, but it's got 4 Phoenix of Ash in it that I don't have. Ooh, it's got an Infuriate, but we can get one of those. That's only a common. It's got an Ember Cleave. I got 3 Ember Cleaves. But let's say you're on a new account and you don't even have you don't have Ember Cleaves at all. You don't have enough resources for any of these. You don't have these castles. You just got to use regular mountains. I love the mono red because it's pretty easy to swap out rares and find reasonable replacements. But let's say, okay, I managed to get 1 mythic wild card and a couple of rare wild cards. So I was able, or here's some other stuff here's rares and mythics maybe you don't have all of yet. I'm trying to cut rares and mythics to show you that you can backfill those slots a little bit. So let's say we only had the resources to do this. We have 1 rare. We have 5 total rares and 1 mythic, or no, 3 total mythics and 3 total rares. Here, we can even go, let's do this and this. We'll drop our mythics down a little bit more. Craft that common. Oh, we still have, 1 rare, 1 common. We'll finish that. Oh, it's probably a sideboard card that I just accidentally crafted. Be careful of that. In any case, we now have, we got a shell of a red deck, but we can no longer use any rares or mythics. We can only do uncommons and commons that we have collected to fill this out. So what are we going to fill it with? I like to look for replacement type effects. Like, so Embercleave is the big finisher. Maybe there's some other equipment we could do, but really don't overthink it. Just find some reasonable cards in these colors. Careless Celebrant seems really good. When it dies, it shocks. That seems fine for an aggro red deck. So let's put those 3 in. We could get some random removal here. Like Chandra's Triumph is an amazing removal, but it's okay. And throw one of these Triumphs in. Oh, I hate the cat deck, so I'm going to add a couple shield breaker. Another couple shield breaker. Just 2. We'll do. Yeah, I want a main deck shield break. 2 main deck shield breakers. Oops, I cut something instead of adding it. Didn't mean to do that, and I didn't see what it was, so I'm going to skip it for this time. That's what I meant to do. Maybe Greeting would be better, or Lava Coil is a good burn spell to throw in a deck like this. And Rimrock isn't bad. Let's see, we got rid of some. We want to keep it pretty tight. Embercleave. The idea of this is it's all very, even though these look expensive, they're not. So we want to keep it cheap here. Keep it cheap. Keep it cheap. Pack Mastiff is okay. Ooh, Annex is great. Let's get 3 of those. And I don't want to go for another 3-drop unless it's removal. Let's look for another 2-drop removal spell of some kind. Scorching Dragonfire, whatever. Sure. Maybe you'll exile a cat that way. Point is, no big deal. You can make some swaps. Mono red is a great place to start because the swaps are so easy that way. But we can call this budget red. And this is fine. You know, this is going to get you some wins. And you can really do that with most of the monocolored decks. Really trim away some of the more the rares and mythics and replace them with commons and uncommons, and you'll have a fine starting point. And then as you acquire wild cards, you can upgrade cards in your deck. And yeah, I also like aggro a lot if you're in a grind mode, because you can get your games in quickly. If you don't have a lot of, you're going to want to have mono aggro, because it can get you your daily wins quickly and cheaply without a lot of wild cards and without a lot of time. So highly recommend starting on a monocolored path with your competitive decks, and then using a site like MTG Goldfish or any of there's a lot of arena deck list sites out there where you can just pick up a deck and import it pretty quickly and easily into this system and be on your way. So I think that's mainly what I wanted to share today on this front. And I'm going to take some AMA now in case there's some stuff I forgot, but hopefully that will help new players navigate the system a little better. Yeah, EtherHub is another good site. Raptor calls that out. Let me look at my... Anything I forgot? Any experienced arena players out there feel like I've left something off the list here that newer free-to-play players should be thinking about? Here's a question from Triptamine. Asked about using 750 gems for ranked draft instead of 5k gold if you won't be giving full time to max with drafts. The gold buys 5 boosters, the gems buy 3.75 boosters. Have you given any thought for a spend? I really recommend against buying booster packs from the store. The problem, I mean, ostensibly you are here to play Magic, right? So you may as well spend your gold on the events you want to do. I mean, if you are barely ever playing and you don't have the cards you want yet, and you really want booster packs to try for that, I suppose you could. But if you're a daily player, I would really rather than make any of these purchases, I'd rather earn these boosters through, again, playing in standard event. Now, there's not boosters earned here, but I'm saying I'd rather spend the gold here. I'd rather earn cards this way rather than buying boosters. So if you're spending gold on boosters and you want to do it over gems because the booster cost is cheaper that way, I suppose that's fine, but my strong recommendation for anybody who is spending any amount of time on the system is to acquire your collection building through play, not through buying packs at the store. Well, yeah, I mean, at that point, I suppose you're buying... Brian asks, sorry, what if your goal is wild cards and not just rando cards? I mean, eventually those rando cards are going to get you there, but I suppose if you really need wild cards, then you need to be opening booster packs, and you can decide on what your expenditure should be in the store. But certainly for events, spend gold before gems. If you're buying booster packs in the store, okay, you can take the deal you want. But as soon as you can, get a deck you're happy to play with, and then stop buying stuff from the store. Use your resources on other things. That's my suggestion. Yeah, have a plan before you spend any wild cards. One of the problems with you get really excited with a new set and you're sure you have the format figured out, and you dump a bunch of wild cards into a deck that ends up not being what you want it to be, which is why I really like focusing on limited early, because it lets constructed shake out. You can build your collection a little bit while enjoying the new limited format. So Razor mentions the vault. No, we didn't talk about the vault. So we've talked about what happens when you get a rare or a mythic you already have 4x of. You get gems. But if you get a common or an uncommon that you have 4x of already, then you get vault progress. Vault progress. When you open your vault, you get a bunch of wild cards. 1 mythic, 2 rare, 3 uncommon wild cards. So it's worth pursuing. And if you're someone with a huge amount of common and uncommon wild cards, you should use a bunch of them early on to craft up commons and uncommons in the new set so that you start making vault progress sooner. One thing, though, if you go hog wild and it's like, all right, I'm going to spend all 41 of my common wild cards to do that, and then you realize you want to build a deck that needs some commons, you're like, oh shoot, I don't have any wild cards. So I would leave a little store, like maybe 8 of each, in case there's something you forgot about that you want to make for a deck. But definitely keep your common and uncommon wild cards low so that you do vault progress faster on that front. Yeah, and always buy, if you are going to buy packs in the set that has the card you need. Maybe you'll get lucky and get it. And yes, the hat mentions that as well. But the other thing that I want to mention that somebody said is, if you're new to the system now, really focus your wild card spending and your drafting and everything on sets that are not going to rotate this fall. So actually right now that just means Eldraine and Theros. Everything else is going to rotate this fall. So for your long term, you're much better off focusing your acquisition efforts on Theros and Eldraine, because those cards will be standard legal for the longest. So that's another good tip for the newish player on the system, where to put your efforts in acquiring cards and resources. So, and yes, free to play player. Oh, in fact, I need to do it for this account. You should look up. There's a bunch of codes. If you go to the store, there's a code redemption. If someone can find it, I'll try and put it in the notes for this video. But basically, there's many resources on the web. Just Google Arena code list, Arena redemption code list, and you'll get a redemption list, a list of all the code redemptions that you can enter in here, and get goodies. So if we do play Theros, look at that, 3 boosters, and they are there. Should I think I hope I did this for play Eldraine, right? This should not work because I should have done this already. Oh, oops. Well, to be fair, this is my free-to-play 2 account. I know I did this on my main account. In fact, maybe there's other stuff I haven't done here. Play War? I don't, maybe that's not even a code. Anyway, play Allegiance. Yeah, here, let me try. Maybe I haven't done it on this one. I feel like I was, let's try another one. Okay, there we go. Already redeemed. So that's what you see if you've already redeemed it. But basically, if you're a new player, be sure to go out there and look up every single. I think I did it though. I think I did the War of the Spark one. I'll try. Yeah, or at least that's not the right one. Point is, lots of redemption codes. You can look them up on the internet. You can learn them all and get extra value. Yeah, Twitch Prime has a free deck, so you might even just Google free stuff for Arena, and you'll find some other stuff. So yeah, a new player, you get 18 boosters. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, and I'll paste that. Thank you, Nantuko. Got a whisper from Mr. Avatar. Here is an article with all of your code needs. Yep, pre-release codes. You might know someone who went to a paper pre-release event but does not have Arena or doesn't play Arena. Well, you should tell them to play. But in booster packs at pre-release events, you get cards with codes here. This might even be useful. I'm going to go ahead and let the internet try and make this one work. Let's see. TQ0 or TQO-FY3P-NKB. Go for it. Go for it. Or maybe we'll try it. Let's see what happens if maybe I'll race you to it. TQO-FY3P-NKB. Did I beat you all? Oh, I beat you all. Cool. So you can see that you can get draft event entries from pre-release stuff as well, or packs. I'm not sure. Maybe this one, what was this one for? This was for, well, oh yeah, this is for War of the Spark. And at War of the Spark, they gave you draft entries. I didn't play you all. I just beat you. I mean, not my fault that you weren't fast enough on the. I mean, I gave you a head start. I showed it to you. Got you with the caps. Yeah, Mike says there's lots of players who do play Arena but play in multiple pre-releases. So those things, these are floating around out there. Check with your paper playing friends for your promo codes and get those too. And you only get to use, yeah, one for event. So if I had another code, it wouldn't work on this account anymore anyway. But another reason to play multiple accounts, right? There you go. All right, I think that's enough of a primer for today. Hold on, I was trying to get to... not this scene, this scene. Yeah, they've changed what the rewards are from set to set, but definitely go check that out. Hopefully that was a good primer for you all. And if you have any questions, post them in the comments. It'll help inform my next video effort on this front, or I can answer your questions again. Thanks for hanging out. See ya.